Again with a two-part video. First part is a training part, second part is an adventure motorcycle story. Okay, first part, we're going to talk about the leg press in terms of foot placements, right? You've seen people placing their feet all over, and it applies to deadlifts or squats or whatever, but we're going to use the leg press as an example. So here's the leg press pad that you put your feet on. If you put your feet in the middle, you're going to get and they're shoulder width apart, you're going to get overall leg development, right? Quads, calves, whatever, great. But if you start to move your feet up or down or out, up or down, you're going to change the which muscles are stressed a little bit more as you push that plate up and down. Okay, so let's take the narrow shoulder width stance first. It's going to do more abductors, which means more of the outer thighs, okay? So when your feet are closer together, you're doing more of the outer quads or the outer thighs. When you have a wide stance, some people call it a sumo stance, you're going to do more of the adductors or the inner part of the thighs, right? So when your feet are out, you're doing more of the inner, and when your feet are in, you're doing more of the outer. That's the easiest way to remember it. But let me just first say, a wide stance, the sumo one, gives you a smaller range of motion. So the weight that you're moving goes through a smaller or shorter distance. So it's always easier to move more weight when the distance is shorter, all right? And this applies to any exercise, whether it's the bench press and you're doing this huge arch in your back, that's a lower range of motion. And so again, it's easier to lift more weight. Okay, what else? High feet. If you place your feet up here on the higher part of the pad, you're going to end up doing more glutes, more hamstrings. And the wider your feet, the more this is true. If you place your feet down below, especially in a narrow, you're going to do more of the front or the quads, okay? And you'll feel it when you do it. Now, I do want to mention, if you put your toes on the pad here, okay, and it's a narrow stance, it's going to be a general calf development, okay? But similar as what I was talking about before, if you point your toes out, you're going to do more of the inner calves, and if you point your toes in, you're going to do more of the outer calves, okay? Same kind of argument on that. Now, you will see people using the Smith machine to do squats, for example, where they actually, these are their feet, here's their head, and the bar is up here, and they look like they're seated, okay? This, with the feet, it's the same thing as having your feet up high here, okay? This positions your feet out in front of you, just like this, okay? That's a Smith squat. What else should I add? Oh, that's pretty good. I hope this helps you understand about foot placement, okay? And it's true in deadlifts, squats, or the leg press, all right? Now, my motorcycle story. If you followed me or you heard on the last couple of the post in the video I last did, you know that I taught math and science in Nigeria, West Africa, for a couple of years in the mid-70s. I was in a little town, Boko. I don't know, I can't remember. I think it had 8,000 or 10,000 people, but I put 100,000 kilometers on my little motorcycle, in flip-flops and a sundress, right, getting around. But I taught in a girls' school. It was run by the Catholic nuns, and it was at one end of the town. I lived in the compound there. And at the other end of the town was a boys' school. It was run by the government. I didn't teach there normally, but I did hear that their math teacher left. I don't know why, but anyway, these poor guys had to write these externally imposed Cambridge exams in order to pass their Form 6 and pass secondary school, get their diploma. So I kind of felt sorry for them. And so I thought, well, you know, I'm not doing anything in the evenings. I'm going to ride my motorcycle down to that school and I'm going to teach those boys math. And I did that for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks. Now remember, Boco had no running water and no electricity. So in the evening, you usually saw, you know, lots of things going on in the market, you know, bush lamps and you know, that was fine. There were no lights on the streets like North America, but, you know, you could see a bit because there were bush lamps here and there. Okay, so I'm teaching at the school one night, and everything was cool, and I left, I don't know, 7:30 or something, and I was traveling up the dirt road to get to my compound, and I noticed a guy. Well, I couldn't see too well, and I wondered, well, why aren't there any bush lamps? There's no market. Weird. And then I saw a guy standing there. Couldn't see him too well, and about 30 feet later was another guy, and then another guy, and then I realized, oh my God, they have rifles across their chests, and they are in army fatigues, right? So, I jump, and you don't fiddle around with these guys, right? I jump off the bike, and I get in front of the light of the bike, which is a good light, and I'm like, Baturi, 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 which means white. So these two guys come over, and they've got loaded rifles, and they're pointing them at me, and then they begin to argue. It's a different dialect than I'm used to. They're from the Northeast, Hausa, I think. I could pick up the odd word, and what I understand is this, which is really scary. One guy, the tall guy, he wants to shoot me. And the shorter guy is like, oh, I hear that he's upset that I'm white, and he's thinking, well, if we shoot a white person, we may get shot. And so, of course, I'm hoping that the short guy wins the argument, right? And fortunately, he did. And he escorted me back to my compound. Now, you know, the thought of being killed at the side of a road in Nigeria in a sundress and flip-flops, I mean, how crazy is that, right? So I'm thinking, you know, I'm not staying a third year. That's why I didn't stay a third year. I loved the Nigerians. I loved working there, but there just became too many coups, and it just was too scary. So my next video, I'll make it 2 parts as well, but I'm going to give you a North American story. I don't want you to think all the crazy stuff happens in West Africa. Believe me, I got some good North American stories too. Okay, so if you like my videos, consider purchasing my book, Are You Fat Making or Calorie Burning? You can get it Google, Target, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters Indigo, wherever, okay? So if you like my videos, you're going to enjoy this book. Not as many motorcycle stories in it, but anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.